A viewer told me something interesting about this new artist. Welcome back, Troglodytes, to your daily dose of guitar information, the Trogly's Guitar Show. If there's one criticism outside of price that Gibson and Epiphone always gets hammered on, it's they don't appeal or give signature guitars to young upcoming artists. Like, there's a few, don't get me wrong. This is the YUNGBLUD signature Epiphone SG Junior. And wow, out of the case, I've got to say, I'm kind of impressed by this. I was almost expecting a satin finish, but no, it is full-on gloss. It looks really nice with this white coloring, but then you get the black pick guard with your matching dog ear P90 and a wrap tail. I'm a big fan of the Epiphone SG specials they came out with when they revamped their collection, so to have a junior join the Epiphone ranks, I was excited even just if for the guitar. But YUNGBLUD, spelled with U's in both words, is his stage name. His real name is Dominic Harrison, but he's an English singer and songwriter. He plays some guitar, but he's got an interesting grittiness and raspiness to his voice, and with his accent, different feel to his music. Now, I listened to some of the songs. Some of the content wasn't for me, but like he covered Kiss, I Was Made for Loving You, that you might enjoy. I thought Loner was an alright song, but he is a voice of the Gen Z generation. However, just casually in passing, YUNGBLUD happened to come up in a conversation that I was having with the viewer, and he told me something that I thought was very interesting. He's actually the son of a well-known guitar dealer that's gone by a few names over the years, from Music Ground to Denmark Street Guitars to London Vintage Guitars. Currently on Reverb, the shop is called London Vintage Guitars of Denmark Street, UK, and Amsterdam, Netherlands. And you can look through their shop, and they've got a lot of cool stuff and some interesting history. But it's cool knowing that he kind of grew up in that environment, and now he's getting a signature Epiphone. I thought that was fascinating, whether you like the artist or that shop or not. But I just thought it was really cool that we got an SG Junior in the Epiphone lineup, because prior to this, we did not have it, and it's looking really cool. So these are $599, which, I mean, for a one pickup guitar, it is kind of expensive, but did you notice you get a hard shell case? So a case usually runs you between, what, $100, $150 for a kind of a standard Epiphone style case, I would say. So that adds some value. However, it was advertised as a hot pink interior. To me, in the stock photos, it really just looked like the regular one. But no, in person, this is not your regular Lifton lining. It is a bit hotter. It looks like we get some sort of a YUNGBLUD decal if you wanted to put that on the guitar or the case. Outside of that, you get some silica packets, an adjusting tool, and your regular Epiphone stickers. So cool, you at least get something. But since Epiphone isn't currently producing this model otherwise, it's kind of hard to compare to anything else except for that special that we were talking about earlier. Those are currently $449, so it's a $150 premium, but you get one less pickup, a slightly different pick guard, and two less controls. So pickup's what, $20, $30, because this release doesn't get like Gibson USA electronics or anything. It's just your standard Epiphone stuff. And then maybe another $10 for a couple of other pots, and then depending how much you want to add value for the case, there's like, what, a $50 to $100 premium built in for the name? I didn't think that was too bad, and the reason why they probably went with Epiphone is because his audience probably doesn't want to spend $2,500, and he wanted to make it more accessible to them. If this plays and feels anything like the SG specials, we're in for a treat, because I love those things. So to learn more about the nitty-gritty details and specs, let's go ahead and throw it onto the Workbench to take an individual look at its parts, and see if it's worth it for a non-fan to buy one of these. Inside our Epiphone SG Junior, let's go ahead and check it out. So when you remove the pickguard, you don't see any neck tenon joins or anything like that. So if for some reason you wanted to take it off and play it as is, you'd just be left with these holes. But the guard itself is 3-ply, black, white, and black. But next up, let's take a look at our pickup. So it is a dog ear P90. All dog ear means is it's got these little tabs on the side, and you put this style cover over it. Whereas a soap bar P90 looks like this, and you mount it using 2 screws through here. So it looks like it's the exact same pickup. They just screw a different base plate on the bottom. But this one is marked P90 DEPBC. But inside our pickup route, here's what it looks like. You can see some of the mahogany woods that they're using. Now, is it the same mahogany that Gibson USA uses? No, but it's within the same family of trees. And with this being a thick gloss finish, we can't actually tell how many pieces it might be, but the pickup has a reading of 8.84 k ohms within the circuit. And there's no fancy electronics here like push-pull pots to activate like hum canceling mode or something. It's just your regular master volume and a master tone. Here's a closer look at your tailpiece. It is a lightning bar wraparound. So that means it acts as both your tailpiece as well as your bridge. So that adjustment tool that we saw in the case, that's to adjust these. Those are for the intonation. You just kind of rock it back and forth and get it as close as you can get. But having the compensated lightning bar helps you get it a lot closer than not having it. The backside just looks like this, branded Epiphone. As far as dimensions, it's about 1.46 inches thick, and the entire length of the body runs about 15 inches. And you've got your typical contouring along the edges. So far, that's my favorite thing about this signature. It's not like, hey, I'm YUNGBLUD's guitar. It could be anybody's. I think that's why he went with the sticker, because I bet these will hang up at guitar centers, and people will buy these not even realizing it's a signature until they get home and check out the case or something. Sometimes those are my favorite signature guitars. But now we can move on to our fretboard. So this is advertised as Indian Laurel. You've got some interesting wood grain on this one. And yes, it's a bit more porous than rosewood, but hey, these have come a long way since they first started using them. It's just something you have to be accustomed to if you want to buy a modern day Epiphone. But you've got your regular pearloid dot inlays. I really like the ringiness of the grain here, but that'll vary example to example. As far as the sharpness of the frets, I'd say they did a decent job tapering it off, maybe just a little sharp up here. But this model does not have fret nibs, so it's just frets. But the nut measure is 1.7 inches, 210 by the 12th. First fret neck depth, 0.84. Wow, only 0.92 by the 12th. It's advertised as a slim taper C neck profile. However, I disagree. This feels more like that typical Epiphone D shape, where it has some sloped shoulders right here, but then it quickly transitions into kind of a flat spot on the back of the neck. Here's that neck profile at the first fret and the 12th fret. I know it looks like a C, but you can kind of see what I'm talking about right here, where you get this slope, but then it feels very flat, but it does have a little bit of a curvature to it before it just tapers off really quickly. So that's why I'm saying it kind of feels more like a D-shaped neck. Moving on to the headstock. Again, very basically spec'd up here. The golden Epiphone logo super stands out on this guitar though, because it's the only colored. Everything else is just a monochromatic black and white. Well, except for your fretboard. But there's no YUNGBLUD up here, or even on the truss rod cover, which is kind of surprising. But here you can see the wood grain of your mahogany neck, and all the way in here is your truss rod. However, keep in mind, this is not one of the Gibson headstocked Epiphones. This is just their 2020 revamped Epiphone Kalamazoo style, which honestly, I like these Epiphones. They're a good value for the money if you're after the Gibson shape, but don't need everything else. They can be fun to upgrade as well. But now let's go ahead and flip this one on over to the back to see what we can discover here. Underneath our back plate, it's routed like an SG standard, so if you wanted to convert this into like a baby Brian Ray SG Junior, I suppose with enough dedication and will you could, because you've got your spot right there for your toggle switch and your other two pots. But it looks like we've got some basic 500K pots, full size though. And there's a small area right there where you can see through to the mahogany again. Outside of that, not too much else to see outside of our strap button down here and one there. And again, you get the continuing of the contouring of the SG body. And we can take a second to appreciate how the neck joins onto the body. They just have a little shelf around it. Moving up the back side of the neck, nothing too out of the ordinary. These are handcrafted in China. Just like the front, no branding even back here, because that's usually where an artist will do it. Back of the headstock right in this area or on the truss rod cover. But outside of that sticker, they really do not have it anywhere. So you might walk into the store and think, hey, a new Billy Joe Armstrong signature, because he kind of gives me similar vibes, especially if he's going after the hot pink interior after Billy Joe's latest hot pink exterior case. And you've got the Epiphone Clusen Deluxe style tuners with your small button tips. And the serial of this one dates it to 2024. All said and done, it weighs 6 pounds 4 ounces, so not too bad. I thought the action was a little bit high out of the box, so I lowered that down. But now let's have a small tone sample. Very bright and jangly is the best way to describe it. There we go, the YUNGBLUD SG Junior. What are my final thoughts on this one? I thought it played pretty nicely. The neck dive isn't too bad. It's not overly cumbersome to support the neck, so if you're worried about that, yes, it does occur, but is it the worst? On this example, no, but you gotta remember the weights vary on every one, so maybe try it out in a store if you can. As far as the P90, I thought it sounded great on full-on open 10. Now, when you tried to roll it off, I felt it was maybe just a little bit lacking, but again, you can toy around with your tone knob as well to get kind of a pseudo neck pickup, maybe not exactly the same. But I just love the way this thing looks. The whole black and white theme is very attractive. So whether you're a fan of YUNGBLUD or not, you might consider one of these because I did have fun with it. It naturally lends towards soloing better because it's just completely out of your way. It's not necessarily my favorite neck profile. I wish we had more of like a chunky rounded C rather than your Epiphone D style C. But you do quickly get used to it, and it transforms your playing in a different way. Different good, different bad, I'll leave that up to you. But before we say goodbye, I've got one more funny tying together of things. When I hear the term YUNGBLUD, I think of a song, and then I found out that it's actually by 5 Seconds of Summer. And they actually have a Gibson signature for their guitarist, Michael Clifford. It was a signature melody maker. So you might enjoy checking out that episode next. Alright, Troglodytes, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, and we'll catch you guys tomorrow on the next one. Take care.